Gaspar Anastasi has more than 34 years of experience in counseling and inner healing. And God has used him mightily to bring healing first in his own life through the Word of God, and also in the lives of many who have come through the Stop Hurting, Start Healing ministry, started by himself and his wife Michelle. Since 1983, God has used this inner healing ministry to bind up wounds and free many hundreds of captive men and women, many of whom were once bound by drug and alcohol addiction, which is often rooted in rejection and hurts from the past. Listen to the testimonies of some who have been miraculously healed through the Stop Hurting, Start Healing ministry.
I was angry at life and I wasn't exactly sure why. The easy way out in my life and those close to me had been suicide, which I had been close to many, many times. My own father committed suicide. Through prayer counseling, my life changed. I learned things that I had never been taught before. I learned biblically what God thought about me, which was completely different than what life had taught me about myself. And my whole life has changed.
I suffered from a lack of identity. My father, I've never knew. You know, I made a lot of judgment towards my father. I would say to myself, how can someone leave their kids and not want anything to do with their kids? But I ended up being that same guy. And through the Stop Hurting and Start Healing, I began to understand that, because of these judgments that I passed on my father, I really became just like him. And through prayer, it broke those things in my life. I no longer had to identify myself and be the guy that my father was. I no longer had to identify myself with drugs and that crowd. I no longer had to reap those curses in my life. And as a result, now, I see my kids flourishing. They're living in a way that is so contrary to the way that I grew up. Where I wanted to sell drugs and be this big gangster, my son wants to be a pastor.
Please be sure to tune into the Stop Hurting, Start Healing broadcast with Gaspar and Michelle Anastasi, Mondays at 8:30 p.m. on WRXY-TV, Channel 49 in Fort Myers. And visit our website at StopHurtingStartHealing.com to view the video archive, read Gaspar's weekly blog, or sign up for prayer, because you can stop hurting and start healing.